Somebody said when you lose weight, you don't have any strength. I seem to be doing okay. I'm down 52 pounds. So anyway, we're gonna put the motor on the stand here. Come on, bitch. I guess. Plan is to take this stuff off, as much of it as I can. Fuel pump, oil cooler, water pump off the other side. Cam cover, cams, turbo, manifold possibly. Bring the whole block over and set it on the table. Then I can tear the back end, all the gears off. Easy peasy Japanesey, huh? Oh, great. Just off. Awesome. This is Jeff. No, you guys got to get a new line. I'm tired of this Ricardo is their shit. Goodbye. They call and they ask for Ricardo. Ricardo there? You say no, and then they go into their spiel. I'm getting so sick of it. So, I told them to F off. Okay, I used the wrong size socket. This is a 1-inch. Now it's stuck in there. Okay, you're probably asking what's the point of that? Well, if you heat up a piece of metal that's under compression, when it shrinks, it'll pull away from where it's compressed. Hopefully come out. Came right up. Woohoo! Okay, there it is in all its glory. Antices. Well, if the little one won't do it, we'll get out Black Betty. Black Betty, wham blam blam. Black Betty, wham blam. Whoa! What? That's not gonna do it. Dog crumbly. Good Lord. Okay, if Black Betty won't get it, Bertha will. Go get him, Bertha. There we go. Okay, we got big problems in here. Let me show you. Okay, see that? Completely broke. Completely, totally, 100% broke. Great. And so I guarantee you those bolts are broke off, because what it did is those two little bolts were holding all that pressure. So gonna have to buy a new one of these. Okay, now I gotta undo this one and these two. And as you can see, this one's been gone for some time. And yep, there's the broken off bolts in there. Ooh, that's gonna be fun getting those out. Oh, brother. Not looking forward to that. No, sure. Not gonna take them. Not gonna do it. I don't think I got any air. Ah, come on. Let's see if I get a new striker. Okay, we're out. This is broken. Okay, so now I gotta do the same on the other side, and then I got these two big. These are 1.5" bolts, what, 1 7/8 heads, 1 1/4" bolts, whatever they are. Undo that, and then I can roll the idler out. Okay, now I gotta weld a nut on the top of the idler here and get the crane, pick this whole assembly up out of there. Okay, when you weld on something that has bearings in it, always attach the ground to the item you're welding. Don't hook it anywhere else or you'll ruin the bearings. Okay, here's the problem. There's a tire there holding the track up, and it's raising that idler up, and it won't come out of the slot. Hey, it's broke and bent pretty bad. So I'm going to need a new one. Ty Frank, you got one of those? This is a Caterpillar filter wrench. Anyway, these are pretty good, man. You can really work on these. Just like a seatbelt kind of deal. You put it in here, bring it up here, run this through this dealio, pull it down. Then we're gonna have to go like that way. Put your Ratismo in here. Crank her down. And here we go. There we go. That wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. Okay, now. $621. That's pretty excessive. Could be a reason it doesn't have oil pressure. Fucking wore it out. Stupid. I gotta pay some more attention to that bullshit. Okay, I've got to undo 4 bolts here, and then I'll have to start the cat and raise it up so the hard bar comes off of this pad in here, and then we'll pick this whole assembly up and out of here, and this is part of it, and this will come out with it, and then we'll pull this and this bottom tray, and then we'll undo the bolts here and separate this rod, and then undo these bolts and pull the whole piston out of the track adjuster. Plenty of black stuff on the stick. Okay, now just boom out and swing over. Now boom out. Stand down. Got an O-ring in here, I gotta get out. Okay, this is your adjusting piston. You got two wear bands, one that goes here and one on the bottom to hold it straight in the bore. And then you've got this U-cup seal that goes on here like this. Pushes all the way down, and then you got a spiral snap ring that goes in the groove that holds it on. But because all those bolts and that bracket were broken in the yokes that hold the idler down, what it's allowed it to do, you can see here, is it's worked up and down, and it's really damaged this piston here, which means it's damaged the inside of the bore on the piston. And that's why this seal, if you can see the fuzz right here, this is the top side and it's wore it down, and so it just let the grease bypass. So new seals, wear bands, and I'll have to get the whole chrome piston assembly. The two yokes that go on the cylinder, I'd like to get the big yoke. It's broke up pretty bad. When I got this tractor, it was in that side of the track frame was really heavily damaged, and that roller that you saw us take off that the equalizer bar sits under, that was just welded on, scabbed on. All the bolts were broke off. It almost looks like they'd taken another dozer and tried to push on it right there and popped the whole top roller assembly off and just scabbed it together. So I'm going to need lots of parts to put this one back together. Okay, this is the pilot in here, and that big tit thing sticking out there is threaded onto the rod on the spring in there, and the shiny part is where the piston pushes on that collar that goes over that, and this great big cast iron sleeve in here pushes on the whole spring. But you got to have that recoil spring, because if you get a whole bunch of crap in the track, man, you could do some damage. And so that spring is there to take care of that. But I've replaced this one in this housing once, and anyway, to do this, you don't ever want to take these bolts out, or this whole thing will come off and kill you. What you got to do is go on the back, and there's a plate back there. And if the rod in here is broke, what you got to do is you got to figure out how to get that rod out. And then I have a great big 1.5 inch diameter threaded rod, or 2 inches big. You can put it all the way through here and put a flat plate on it, tighten the nut up, then undo these bolts, and then slowly let it off, and then take your rod out and this cover, and then slowly, get the springs up out of there, because they'll be under compression. And there's one great big one and then a smaller one inside of it, so there's 2 springs in there. And so what I had to do last time is this retainer in the end was broke, and so I basically got in there with a torch and cut enough of it off that I was able to pull it out and pull the shaft out, and then I could get my threaded rod all the way through there and compress this whole spring. Now the cat mechanics won't do that. What they'll do is they'll take a cutting torch and they'll go in here and they'll just start cutting right through this metal and start cutting the spring coils and destroy your spring, and they're afraid it's going to hurt you. Well, if you can get a rod through there, it's not going to hurt you, because when you put these together, you put them in a big press and compress it. You put this pilot in with that great big rod and the nut on the end of it, and they've got it caged down to a certain length, and then you put it in and put this cover on, and then when you're done, you go to the back and you loosen that nut, and then that relieves the tension on it inside the housing. So the most dangerous part is when you put it together and you put that nut on, that pilot and that retaining rod in there had better be in good shape, because if it breaks, it's going to kill you. Okay, I'm gonna drop the belly pan down, and it's got a hinge on it on this side, so I've undone all the bolts on this side. I got one bolt on the other side, but what I'm gonna do is I've taken this chain and I've wrapped it around the track on the other side, and then I'll use the crane to put tension on it. Then I'll loosen the other bolt and I'll lower it down with the crane. That's what the pan bolts look like. Okay, that is the belly pan. Here's the crankcase, the bottom of the motor. And I gotta dig all this crap out. Okay, this is my personal toolbox. These were all the tools I had for a lot of years before I had a shop or toolboxes or anything. Anyway, I bought this no good plastic toolbox from Mega Home Store or whatever. I won't say the word. Anyway, it leaked, got everything rusty. It's been sitting in the shop here for a while. So my question is, what can I do to clean this up? Is this salvageable or is it junk? I've heard about using vinegar. Somebody tell me, leave in the comments below, how to clean up your tools some way that's easy.
All right.